Dear John, I wish you were here. You are truly missed. It's just not quite the same without you. You always used to ask, is there a gap?
Is there a gap? There's always a gap.
Well, there's certainly a gap this year without you. In the crucible, in snooker, and in our lives. Sharing the commentary box with you was always such a pleasure and a privilege.
I think he was the fans' commentator.
Played the court, surely not, surely not, surely!
He's commentated on some of my biggest wins, and is always going to be someone when you watch your games back or they show it, your highlights, it doesn't really make sense without his voice.
When you looked at the draw, the sheet for the rota for commentary, and you saw you were in with John Virgo, you knew it was going to be a good day, because whilst he was critical when needed to be, he was also enthusiastic enough that when the game started to heat up, he could pump in the emotion and pump in the excitement.
Get in, you beauty! Absolutely fantastic!
I think for me it was probably the voice of snooker, you know. Even if you didn't really follow snooker too much, you still knew who it was when he was speaking in the commentary box.
Fantastic! A 145 followed by a 147. It doesn't get any better than that.
You know, his voice on a commentary brought everybody into the match really, because he just had that tone with his voice. You know, if there was pressure, you could sense it in his voice, and then when there's excitement, you know, his voice changed to excitement, and he just brought everyone into that match he was commentating on.
The way he was able to make even a frame where it wasn't perhaps that exciting, he could still have everyone on the edge of their seats, and you know, I think that goes to show just how great he was at it.
John's attitude was, let's sit in the commentary box and chat as if you were sitting in somebody's lounge watching a game of snooker with him.
Somehow he's got to fluke the yellow. You never know, you never know. There's 6 pockets on the table. There's 6 pockets on the table! There's 6 of them, you know, and he's on the green!
John was loved by everybody, you know, all the players, all the fans, you know, I got to know John really, really well. You know, I say he's like a second dad to me. We spent a lot of time on the road, doing lots of exhibitions, travelling around the country, just having great laughs. Just, you know, he's seen me at my lowest, seen me at my highest, you know, and he's always just been like a solid, beautiful guy, you know, just a beautiful man.
I loved working with him. You know, I learned from him, and I learned quickly that he knew the game inside out, and he just loved snooker. You know, there's lots of players that are, you know, they have a career in snooker, but they're not what I would call like snooker people. John was a snooker person. He just loved every minute of it, and the best sort of conversations, we had great times in the commentary box, but it was kind of like in between frames when they'd jump back to studio and we'd just be chatting together about what's going on in the frames, and we'd chat about, oh, he should have played that shot, and we said, you know, do you really rate this player? And he said, well, I don't think he's got a snooker brain, and you know, we would like sort of give like some things you can't say out in camera, but we would like have these little chats in between, and that's what I remember most about John, these little chats that we used to have, you know, before the match started or in between frames.
He's an emotional type of guy, is Kyron. He's worked hard for this.
Strange in a way that it is the last match that sadly John will have commentated on.
And now he can relax. The job's done.
An iconic voice in snooker, and to have him commentating on what is going to be a really historic landmark moment in my career is always going to be held very special in my memory.
And it's Kyron Wilson now, Masters champion.
Of course, before you used your unmistakable voice to commentate, you were out there playing. And you were some player, by the way. Mixing it with the best of them back in the day, and even becoming a UK champion in 1979. I think I remember you mention it once or twice.
Of course, the public will know him and love him for his commentary, but you know, what a player. UK champion in 1979, the biggest moment of his career.
Since the UK, I've been playing very well, you know, and I've beaten in the last 9 months or so most of the best players in the world.
He was a fierce competitor and very good break building skills. And listen, if you win a major championship like he did in the UK, you're a player.
When the world went snooker loopy for the game, you were right there in the thick of it, entertaining the crowds with your impressions, and nobody was safe. It can be a serious game, but we should always find the time for the lighter side of it, and you certainly always did.
He was just such a big character in the game. He really was. He brought so many eyeballs from different parts of the country. We done the exhibition, and then after it I says I'll take him back to Sheffield because the World Championship was starting. But John didn't realise I had an electric car at the time, and I had no charge left in the car, and this was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So we had to stop off at a service station and charge the car for an hour. And he say that I was the butt of a few jokes now that tournament, because he had to sit in the freezing cold for an hour while I charged my car.
I was easy to do. John used to go over and get the big novelty pair of glasses, stick them on, grab the cue and squint at the cue and turn it upside down and chalk the butt end of the cue.
Because of his stature within the game, not just as a player, but also a household voice in everybody's ear, but also the fact he was on big break meant that he sort of transcended the game.
It's only a game, so put up a real good...
Here today, John Virgo tomorrow. Here he is, his uncle JB.
I was dressed as Widow Twankey, a big red wig on and you know, full body and high heels. John couldn't stop laughing.
Are you doing anything later?
We should go out to dinner like this, shouldn't we?
A couple of working class boys making a living, knocking little round balls about with a piece of wood. I mean, we've had a wonderful life. John had a wonderful, wonderful life.
I wish I could see you again, even just one more time, to tell you just how loved you were by the snooker community, by your friends, by the fans, and by me.
It's a terrible, stark thing when people leave your lives. The fact that you're never going to see them again. It's been devastating to all of us, all of his colleagues. And it's a shame that we just don't get 30 seconds at the end of someone's life just to shake their hands before they go to the pearly gates. And we can just tell them what we truly thought of them. Because I would give him a man hug, I'd shake his hand as firmly as I could, and I'd tell him thanks for 40 years of friendship, of camaraderie, and for making our wonderful sport just that bit better.
Thank you for everything you've given all of us. You were such a help to me as I moved into the broadcasting side of the game. You were always such wonderful company, and you were like a big brother to me, and I love you dearly. Good night, JB.